Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to start the session now. My name is Kinza Ghaznavi. I'm the Grants Manager at EAC. I'm joined by my co-host, Peg Rosenberry, who's our Grants Management Subject Matter Expert. And we are also joined today by Amanda Joyner, our Associate Counsel. We are covering the frequently asked questions that we recently posted to our EAC website, and we wanted to just give an opportunity to review them with you together and ask any questions. I'm going to go through the agenda for today. It's pretty simple. It's a basic format. We're going to go through the recent FAQs one by one, and we're going to take a pause according to the topic to allow for you to unmute your lines or enter your questions into chat, and we'll take those questions as they relate to the FAQs we just covered. And then we'll continue on to the next batch of FAQs. That way you're not holding all your questions till the end. We'll then cover some resources available to you when the training is over, and then open it up to any and all questions that you may still have or weren't already covered by the training. So let's get started. So one of the first group of frequently asked questions that we posted recently are around the National Defense Authorization Act, specifically Section 889. So we're going to go through these 5 FAQs and talk about how they impact our grants. The first question that we posted is, what is Section 889? And this is really a section that prohibits federal agencies and federal grant recipients from procuring certain telecommunication and video surveillance equipment. This went into effect on August 13, 2020. So what are these prohibitions on this equipment? What are the companies, and what can you not do, and how does it affect the grant? So grantees cannot use grant funds to purchase, renew, or enter into a contract for this prohibited equipment or these services or these systems. Now this could be video surveillance, telecommunications, and since it could be used for public safety or the security of a facility or the physical surveillance of critical infrastructure, it's really important to pay heed to these companies and make sure that you are not engaging with them for these products. So there's a list right here of these 5 companies. So you want to make sure that you don't have engagement with them and their subsidiaries and affiliates. So part of the question that we received is whether you have to verify with your vendors that any of the cameras that have been installed are compliant with Section 889. So right now there is no certification being imposed on our grantees. So you do not have to have from each of your vendors a verification saying that they are compliant. So the next question is, so are you required to remove covered equipment you've already installed? So let's say you find out that, okay, we did have something from Huawei installed, and now we're in this phase that we're past August 13th. So it doesn't really, the guidance that has been sent out from Section 889 and OMB doesn't address the removal of existing equipment that was purchased with federal funds before August 13th. And there's no expectation to remove the equipment that was installed prior to that, but you should be planning to transition away from it after August 13th. Now, EAC will be working with OMB to prioritize funds and to assist grantees in transitioning from using covered equipment. Okay. So the last question for this category is, are incurred labor costs associated with the removal of this equipment allowable? So yes, expenses related to the installation or removal of security equipment, it's considered enhancing the security of election facilities, and it's an allowable cost. It's reasonable to make these election security improvements, and labor costs are included as appropriate. So that is our entire section for this specific prohibition. So I'm going to pause now, and I'm going to allow for anyone who wants to ask a question to unmute themselves or enter a question into chat related just to these 5 FAQs and this topic alone. And then we'll, of course, continue on to the next section and answer questions related to that after that section is complete. So I'll pause for a bit and see if we have any questions in the chat related to this, and we'll go ahead and answer those. All right, not seeing any questions and no one coming out for the unmuting. We're going to keep moving.
Okay, and this is Peg. I'm going to be going through these questions related to supplies, which I think is where some of you are have some of your questions. So there were 3 or 4. These are the questions that were raised around the use of supplies and equipment during the pandemic, and I'll be answering those one by one. So the question is, what can we do with the unused hand sanitizers, masks, or other supplies that were purchased with CARES funds? And the Code of Regulations still covers all of these kinds of grant activities, and it doesn't speak specifically to the disposal of supplies below a $5,000 threshold. But you have to look at the code in sections 313 and in 314, I'm sorry, that's a typo, together because they apply to supplies and equipment. And generally, under the federal government, with its grants to states, states follow their own policies and procedures and laws for what they do with unused equipment and supplies when a grant ends. And they generally use them for other state activities or sell them. But generally, you have to follow your own laws and procedures for disposing of them. The only thing that comes into play is if there's more than $5,000 in leftover supplies that were bought with federal funds, in which case you have to return to the feds the amount of the cost that it paid for under the grant according to the current market value, which I think is where some of you may have questions. And also I want to be clear about what aggregate in this case means. And in the FAQ that we posted on the website, we generally indicated we didn't anticipate that states would have excess of 5,000. So what we mean in aggregate is basically not taking all of the supplies, putting the face masks and other PPEs, hand sanitizers together in one group because they're for different purposes and they're different things. So you would be looking at separately face masks. Do you have more than $5,000 worth of unused face masks? Do you have more than $5,000 worth of hand sanitizer? Not all of those things together. And it doesn't apply at the equally at the state and the sub-grant level. If you've sub-granted your money out to the counties, it's their level, not your level of $5,000 that applies here. So one of the questions that I already have seen is wanting to know if you still have to pay the federal government back if you're going to use them for another CARES Act purpose, or with another, a different, I think it's a different pandemic grant. but we can talk about that when we get to the Q&A more. But that is one area where I think we want to wait and get some more legal review of that, because I think what you're talking about is taking that fund, that amount that's above 5,000 and using it for under some other pandemic grant, not under the CARES grant. So Amanda, does that make sense to you to sort of leave that question for more legal analysis?
Yes, it does, Peg. And actually that is something that we have been looking at. So hopefully we can provide a more comprehensive answer sooner than later, because that has been on our plate.
Okay, next slide is what should you do with unused supplies you purchased with state matching funds? The same applies here. You follow your state policies and procedures. But if you bought the supplies to meet your state matching fund and you didn't then use them or need them under the grant, that doesn't really count as your match. So if you go below what your required match is when you're realizing that you're not needing them for the grant, then we'll have to work with you to calculate any match shortfall, which may or may not occur. And so this was another question we got. Can the perishable items be used for non-federal elections if they're going to be materially diminished before the next federal cycle? And the answer is yes, as long as the original purpose was reasonable. So basically, and that's following the Code of Federal Regulations again. You don't want to go out and buy 5 times more than you know you're going to need. That wouldn't be a reasonable expenditure of the federal funds just so you'd have them in the future. It needs to generally be a reasonable cost. If you were going to do it and you needed it for that federal cycle and just it was more than you actually needed and you weren't planning on future use, that's fine. It can be covered. You just have to be careful of the reasonable aspect of this. Okay, can you use non-perishable supplies for future non-federal elections? And here the same guidance applies for what EAC has done with things that buying other supplies such as cell phones, storage boxes, and so on, that you have to be able to allocate the percentage of funds associated with the administration of the federal elections and charge that to a grant and have some kind of allocation, because you know you're using them for, if you're using them for other activities and to benefit other things as well. But of course, there's certain things here that are different related to the pandemic. Those things like plexiglass and so on probably aren't beneficial when holding an election when there's not a public health emergency. So it could be difficult or really impossible to determine some kind of cost allocation between federal elections this year and hypothetical future years. So if you can allocate the costs on a reasonable basis, they should be. But if you can't determine it, you can do any sort of reasonable basis, but you still do have to do some kind of allocation between the costs if you possibly can. So questions. I think this is where we're going to get more questions. We have a question on how to determine the fair market value of remaining PPE supplies. That's a very good question. I'm not sure that there is any particular way to do it. Generally, if you're looking for the fair market value, you're going out at the current time when you're trying to sell them and figure out what would somebody have to use to pay to purchase them. And another question coming in. With respect to the PPE that has been purchased and distributed to locals with CARES EAC funds, Can you indicate whether the remaining PEE with an aggregate statewide value of more than $5,000 can be used for general CARES purposes under other titles of the CARES Act without having to be purchased back by a payment to EAC? And that's the question I think that we want to get a little more legal analysis on, is if we can turn those over to other CARES Act funding. But when we say here, I want to go back to aggregate statewide value of more than $5,000. And let's look at it from the perspective of, did the state purchase all of the supplies and distribute them to the counties? In that case, you're looking at what's the value at the state level. If you gave the money to the counties and they purchased it, it's at their level is what they purchased individually by county worth more than $5,000. I hope that's very clear. And we have 3 more questions. Will there be formulas provided for how to allocate? And unfortunately, no, we can't really do that because it would differ state by state. We can work with you to help make determinations of what's reasonable for you, but it is a state by state process. And we have another question. Do you have advice on cost calculation of high-speed ballot tabulators purchased to manage the high volume of by-mail ballots during the pandemic? Though if you purchased high-speed ballot tabulators during the pandemic, you're going to be using those in the future. So I'm not sure if you're asking if we're selling these right now, allocating them, or if you're asking about cost allocation for future use. If you could provide a little more detail on that question, it would be great. Oh, cost allocation for future use. So I would assume, and maybe this is incorrect, that many of you are already following guidance that EAC has been giving out for several years now about allocating costs between federal and non-federal. For instance, there are FAQs on the website that speak to this related to storage units, to other supplies and so on. That would be, I would follow the same allocation process that you are there. And the next question, yes.
Sorry, this is Kim from Ohio. One follow-up question to that, where I'm having difficulty in determining a cost allocation is because I have to push back a little bit on the assumption that some of this equipment will be used in a non-pandemic.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part of your question. Push back
part of the
what?
Part of the reason I'm pushing back on the assumption that there has to be a cost allocation for the equipment. And the reason being, I don't know if in a non-pandemic election, non-federal election, I don't see turnout being anywhere, mail-in turnout being anywhere close to what we saw due to a pandemic election. And so if I don't have that high rate, I won't need to use the additional equipment that was purchased.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so right now I'm saying I have no idea what, if I look at previous elections, the previous equipment we had in a non-pandemic environment was enough to support our efforts. So how can I possibly cost allocate something in the future that I have no idea how human behavior will be impacted?
Exactly. So, but what I'm hearing is that you probably won't be using them for future elections unless it is a pandemic, right?
That would be my assumption right now, as I sit right now, I don't have a crystal ball.
Right. So what you have is equipment that you've purchased that you're not going to need to allocate because you're not going to use it in a non-pandemic. Am I making sense there?
Yes. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that is that a reasonable
Right,
assumption on our behalf?
Yeah, so you're not going to be using it in the case where you don't have a pandemic. Therefore, you don't have to allocate the cost because you're not going to be using it for a non-federal process. It'll be for the next huge pandemic that occurs during an election. Okay, so another question coming is, does the allocation requirement apply to absentee voting tabulators? Yes, the allocation would apply to anything that you buy with federal funds that you're going to use for non-federal purposes. And another question coming in is, our county board of elections would like to donate the hand sanitizer that will expire within 2 years to their community homeless shelters. Is it possible as long as the cost is under $5,000? And here, once again, it's up to the state to make the determination and use what would you normally do in situations like this? If you would normally allow something like this under your state rules, then you can do it under the grant because you are following your state rules for what you do with residual supplies. Okay, other questions? And feel free to unmute yourself if you'd rather have a verbal conversation. So if somebody wants to go on the chat line to tell me if there's still some more confusion about this, I'm happy to see that. And then we will get back individually as well to see if there's anything we need to clear up and maybe put some additional guidance out.
Hi, this is
Kate, this is Julie
Yes.
Flynn. Julie Flynn. So I
Hi, Julie.
joined a minute late here, but so we purchased absentee ballot drop-off boxes for a number of the jurisdictions. But I'm assuming we would use them in the future. I just really don't understand how we would possibly cost out what.
And you may not, that's something that we can look at for the future. You may not need them in the future. So you don't have to allocate unless you find that you're going to have a need for them in a non-federal election in the future. Is that making sense for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we will use them because people liked them. And so even though we won't have the volume that we had this time, I'm assuming, I think they think.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We're not going to just
Do is we
and not use them.
Yeah, what we can do is we'll put some additional guidance out about, you know, some of this related to, okay, you have more than you need right now. And if you use them in the sometime in the future, we can work with at that point to figure out if there's an allocation process that you need to follow. It all depends on, you know, what happens in the future, and you can't really determine right this minute what it is.
Peg, this is BB Black from Minnesota.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. So we purchased in bulk the PPE and had it shipped directly to the counties. And by doing that, we got a much better price, I think, and we're able to obtain things more quickly than one of our 87 counties could have done. So it seems a little, I understand that you may not be able to do anything about this. It seems a little counterproductive to say that since we paid for it centrally, that $5,000 limit now applies to everything that's in the hands of the locals. But I do have an additional question, which is all of our primary and general elections that are regularly scheduled in the even numbered years are also federal elections.
Right.
So if we keep the masks and the face shields if we tell the counties to keep them until their next primary and general, Does that need to be purchased back from the EAC, or is that a permitted use? Well, the reason I ask that is because, of course, the CARES Act is only, as I understood, it was only for elections in 2020.
Correct. Yes.
So does that have to be purchased back, or is it a permissible use for a federal election if it's used in a federal election in the future and does not have to be counted towards the $5,000?
So let me ask a question before that. Do you think that separating out the supplies that you bought, would you have over $5,000 in unused face masks?
I'm sure we do. We bought a ton and had them shipped out to 4,000 precincts.
Got it. Amanda, this is one where I think we want to do a little more analysis. What do you think?
Yeah, I was going to chime in. I do think that's something that we need to look at internally before responding. But I do understand the question. I understand the issue there. So yeah, I'll add that to my list as well to be working on that.
And I would be glad to provide more details offline if that's useful.
Yes, that would be great. You can
That'd
email,
be great, Bibi.
yeah, Peg, or you can email me as well, ajoiner@eac.gov. That would be very helpful.
Thank you very much.
This is Shelley from Maryland. We did the same thing. We had purchased all the PPE supplies for all the jurisdictions in our state, and then we shipped them out. So, and they are asking if, especially for the hand sanitizer, I'm quite sure they'll use the masks and the face shields again. And we purchased the vote mailboxes as well and shipped them out to the different counties, and I think we are definitely going to use those again as well for more elections. So if that's the case, do we have to figure out if we use the ballot mailboxes on a non-federal election? We have to do some kind of allocation to figure out what should go back to CARES?
This is another place where, in general, I would say yes, that's true. But I think it gets into some of the other questions that I saw earlier that we're going to get some additional, looking at it legally and get some additional guidance on it. It's not very straightforward, like some of the other issues that we have. Other questions?
This is Julie Flynn again. I think that the problem is not for the things that are sort of considered consumables, like your hand sanitizer or something, you're going to use it up and it'll be gone. But for something that has permanent use, like a drop-off box, to buy it because you needed it for this election and then not use it again, or to have to figure out how much to pay back a grant a couple of years later when you have another, federal election. I'm in the same boat as Minnesota. Our state elections in the even numbered years are federal elections. So, but we're not using it for a COVID purpose, but it's just.
Exactly. And the CARES Act, with the limited time to expend the funds and only on the 2020 election, makes this more difficult. So, Amanda, I think we want to do some additional thought on this, don't you?
Yes, definitely. And I'll prioritize it.
Great.
I can see how that's affecting a lot of you.
I mean, I guess I would throw out there, if it's an election improvement, as we think the drop-off boxes would be, and we did put in our budget for the security grants that we would use it for ballot boxes and security boxes, could I make an allocation and pay some of that out of my HAVA security
Oh, absolutely. There are no, if this was the election security grant, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, I just don't know how to figure out an allocation of how much
Yeah.
of it really was used for this election when, I mean, these things are, I don't think they're indestructible, but they're going to last for a while, and we probably do want to use them.
Exactly. Exactly. So we have another question that came in about laptops and other hardware purchased for teleworking employees. And same issue here. We'll fold that all of this fits under the same kind of guidance that we'll take a look at and issue a little bit more. A little more clarification. Other questions? Okay, shall we move on, Kinza, to the next?
Yes. So we just have one more question that we posted recently. And this is around the same topic about allocability. So the question is, county election systems in smaller counties are connected to a county-wide system. Can HAVA funds be used to upgrade the county-wide system for cybersecurity purposes? You can use HAVA funds, but you can't support the entire cost. So here you want to look at allocability. If the upgrade to the system is being used to upgrade the county-wide system as a whole, but then it's not exclusively for improving federal elections, only the percentage of costs associated with the elections can be charged to the HAVA grant. So this is the same kind of theme about allocability and being able to make a determination of how much the usage will be between federal and non-federal. So I just want to cover a few of the resources available to you after this training. Of course, we said we will be recording this training and we will be posting it. I will be probably posted next week. For general questions, you can always reach us at grants@eac.gov, but we've also broken out our categories into HAVA specific questions at HAVA funding at eac.gov and care specific stuff at cares funding at eac.gov. And many of you have been using that already. And what happens there is we're able to triage your question pretty quickly between the team and respond. Our FAQ guidance, of course, is posted to our website. The link is here in blue, eac.gov payments and grants /grants FAQs. That's where we continue to update questions over a couple of weeks, couple of months that we're seeing recurring and will be helpful. Again, even having this session with you, we're able to see where the struggle is and where more clarification is needed. And so we will be providing more guidance on that. But we're not done. We want to, again, provide this opportunity for any more questions that you've thought of, anything else you think we can give to you and be more clear so that you can be in compliance and be able to apply this grant accordingly. So we're going to pause again. And now you basically, anything that you are struggling with, please let us know in the chat or unmute your lines and ask the questions.
And Kinza, we have one here. One of the FAQs says that generally making polling places accessible is an allowable cost. However, the expense is not directly related to meeting any of the Title III requirements, so that cost can only be allocated to funding programs under Section 101 and under Section 251B. And they want elaboration on what that means. And what that is that's been a long-standing FAQ that basically goes back to the original 251 funds that could only be used to meet Title III requirements, unless it was going to be a small amount that is allowed under Section B of 251. And all we're saying there is if you haven't met all the Title III requirements, then you must spend the 251 funds to meet those requirements, but you can use Section 101 funds to, for any accessibility costs that you have. I would doubt that there are many states out there that have not already met all the Title III requirements, which probably means that this FAQ, that since it's been out there for at least 5 or 6 years or more, is probably somewhat obsolete. But that's basically what it means.
Hey, Peg, this is Leslie Reynolds from NAS.
Sure.
Hi. Could you walk through the reporting deadlines and if there's going to be an opportunity to file maybe initial reports and supplemental reports? I mean, going back through the legislation, it looked to me.
No, Leslie, we lost you.
Peg, I can cover the reporting.
Like the deadlines have already passed.
Leslie,
Leslie, we lost most of the second part of your question.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I'm sorry. My headphones don't work clearly. I was just wondering about the reporting deadlines and if there's any opportunity for, say, an initial report and then supplemental reports based on continuing guidance that you guys are going to be looking through. I mean, when I look through the legislation, it looks to me like the reporting deadlines are passed. Or
Okay, Kinza can address that, and you're
Yeah.
talking about CARES Act.
yes, I'm sorry, the CARES Act.
Got it. Okay.
Sure. So right now, what we basically have wrapped up for the year is the 20-day reports that were due after each primary and general election. So those have been submitted and they've been transmitted to Congress. So that is like basically, for all intensive purposes, over. We're doing a little bit of clarification to understand some numbers and document what we've received. But now really we should be looking forward, and what we're looking forward to is the next progress report for CARES and the next federal financial report for CARES. And both of those are due on February 28th, 2021. So the federal funds have a end date of December 31st, 2020. And so because of that end date, these federal financial reports and progress reports are off cycle for EAC. Our normal cycle is end of December and April. So instead of that, we're going to be in February for CARES. So when the December 31st deadline arrives, at that point, everything that has been allocated by the states for expenditure, even if it's unliquidated obligations, they must all tie back to activities that occurred in 2020. They cannot be activities that occurred in 2021 against federal funds. They can be in 2021 against state match. So let's say you're auditing your election in 2021, January, February, whatever, you can still charge that to the match, but no longer to the federal funds. So in that time period, after December 31st, you've got January, you've got a couple of weeks in February to complete paying out your invoices, processing all of the reimbursement requests from all of your jurisdictions. And then you're going to tell us what's the status of your federal expenditure on February 28th in the payment management system and our progress reporting system, which is called Alchemer. So the passwords for those reports are actually coming out later today. So right now, folks don't have the progress report passwords, but they're getting them today and they can start writing those narratives and, summing things up, or they can wait, they have time. So we're looking to the future now, and there is time there to continue to spend and also continue to reimburse and continue to, clean up your accounting and processing of this funding. I hope that helps. And of course, if you have questions about HAVA reporting, I can also cover that.
I have a question about, I just want to make sure I'm right. We have to make all the expenditures by December 31st for costs incurred by November 3rd from the federal fund. Is that correct?
Yes, so when it comes to the federal funding, that December 31st is the key date. And it can be unliquidated, which means that you've already signed off the contract, you already got your services done, but you haven't paid it out yet. You can pay it out in January because the service happened in November 2020, that's fine. So it's unliquidated, but it's still already obligated. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, I have a indirect cost rate. And so it won't be assessed for my expenditures from December. It won't be assessed to the account until the first week in January.
Yeah, and we anticipate things like that, and that's why the due date is February 28th.
Okay, great.
Sure.
And how is that going to be wrapped up once that report is done on February 28th? Let's say we've done all our federal and state match expenditures by that report and it's a final report. Do we get a notice? We have to say how much principal and interest is left and pay that back. Is there guidance that's coming out about how that gets wrapped up, how the account gets closed?
Yes, we will be issuing guidance. So the process will be dependent on the status of those funds, right? So if you have a federal balance, obviously that balance is clear, it has to be returned. So we will issue guidance on how that return will function. And that's not going to happen until we actually review your February federal financial report. After that, if you have fully expended all of your federal funds and you feel like you have met your match and you're ready for a final report and closeout, some folks will be in that boat and we will work with them to get to closeout. And then there will be folks who have expended all their federal funds, but have not yet met their 20% match. They have more time to meet that match. And so they may have other activities related to the 2020 election, like auditing, storing, stuff that I don't know about, that they, are legitimate and appropriate activities that keep going on even though the election day is over. Those would be charged to the match, and then they would continue to get towards meeting that 20% match. So they would have that time and their grant would continue, and then they would be on cycle for reporting, which means their next report would be due April 30th, and then later in December, et cetera, until they hit the 20% match. When they hit the 20% match, again, they'll get to the closeout phase and the finalizing of their CARES grant. So it really depends on the status of funds that we'll find out from you at the end of February and review in March. And that's when we'll work individually with states and territories to discuss what is going to happen with the grant and what the next steps are. But we are working on guidance about returning funds. We are working on guidance for closeout of funds that have, met all of those targets. So for now, just get through this month of what you need to account for and so on. And then you still have time for your CARES grant to prepare that report and reconcile everything.
Oh, yeah, we have another question, Kinza. How do allocation rules apply to improvements at polling places? So I think we just recently received a question that said they they improved a polling place with ramps and accessibility. And the allocation rules would apply there depending on the benefit to the federal election once again. So if it's a school and you used CARES Act or even other HAVA funds to put ramps and so on into the schools using election security funds, you could not charge all of that cost to the grant. You'd have to figure out some kind of an allocation to what the percentage of the cost was benefiting the federal election, since the school is being used for other things beyond just polling. And the allocation rules would apply across polling places depending on, you know, what percentage of the time they're used for elections.
Do we have any more questions? If you feel like you want to hear something again, feel free to ask it again. There may be other people who want to hear something that we've said one more time. Don't, you know, hesitate on that. It could always benefit others. And then it will also highlight for us an area to focus on.
Kinza, we have one more. It's further to the allocation. Do we have examples of how that allocation process has been applied for polling places? I don't think that we have some right now, but we can see if we can get a hold of some allocation processes. It's a very individual process.
All right, folks, so this is not your last opportunity to ask questions. For those of you who did have allocation concerns and need more help, please email caresfunding@eac.gov or havafunding@eac.gov. It'll help us in responding to you to have a little bit more detail in writing. So that's always helpful to us. So we can evaluate either your specific case or generalize it for everybody else. And, you know, we are still available if you need to have one-on-one meetings to discuss your particulars in your state and the scenarios under which you're operating. And we will, again, get back to you on the things that we promised during this call for more guidance. And we will broadcast that once we have it on our website and through email, so you are notified that it has been posted. All right, hearing no further questions, thank you all for joining us today, and we'll be in touch. And please do get in touch with us if you need anything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you.